everybody, my name is Losermac, and today we're going to be starting part 1 of a 3-part series on how to get the 100%er as fast and most efficiently as possible. Now, I didn't use these methods directly when I was growing up in the world of 100%er. However, I've come up with some methods to combine a bunch of cards and condense everything together in order to do this really efficiently and pretty fast. So, the one we're going to be getting with today is Elixirs and Talismans. And the next one we're going to do after that is Zombie Survivalist. Now, the reason I want to do Elixirs and Talismans first is because it has a lot of ties with these three. The more progress you do towards this one, the more progress you'll get towards these. You won't get a significant amount of progress, however, you'll get a decent amount. So that's why I want to do this first. But one disclaimer, Classic Elixirs got a major nerf a few weeks back, and doing this on release of Black Ops 4 was so much faster. But now that the fact that the elixir times are so ridiculously long, it's going to make most of these cards a lot harder to obtain and take a lot longer. So most of the time we're going to be using elixirs and then most likely just ending the game and repeating the process. You most likely are not going to be using multiple of the same elixir in one game. So unfortunately that has to be how it is. For every master calling card I go over, I'm going to tell you what class to use, what map to play, what difficulty to play on, and how many bots to play with or just playing solo. For Elixirs and Talismans in total, there's going to be about 4 classes. And we're going to mostly be playing Blood of the Dead on casual. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so for the first calling cards we're going to start out with, we're going to be doing Perk Saver, Ace Up My Sleeve, Share the Wealth, EMT, and Wafer Thin. All at once, so basically this nice little C here. So let's begin. You want to go on the map Blood of the Dead on normal with 3 bots. So this is the most efficient and best way I know how to do these cards. You can do all these at once over the span of multiple games, and this is the method I use. So the first thing you want to do is chug a points drop and let the bot take it. Once you have done that, just get a bunch of points and try to open your way to a power and new industries. Now during this time, typically you would be spamming the points drop to continuously spawn power-ups for Ace Up My Sleeve. However, we want to make sure we don't use it yet in order to use equipment in a little bit. But the thing about points drops is it's actually much different from the rest of the elixirs. And here we go, I throw 1 frag and use equipment. And that now puts a point on my Wafer Thin. As you can see there, I used another points drop, but I accidentally let the bot pick it up. You don't want to do that because then you can't spam points drops, which makes this whole thing a little bit less efficient now, because now I'm missing many opportunities to use and put another point in my Ace Up My Sleeve. But that's okay. At least it's to show that that can be a bad thing if you get rid of all your points. Anyway, the thing about points drop is it comes up every 15 seconds, and it's not like all the rest of the elixirs because it's not held back by the red bar in the middle. You can just keep spamming it over and over as long as you have 500 points. So that's why it's so good for using it for Ace Up My Sleeves. Ace Up My Sleeve, sorry. Because you don't need to actually use consumables, you can just keep using points drop. Alright, so during this time, you're just basically getting points to get to the power switch and to open new industries. And during this time, just keep using points drops. Another thing I tried here was I pushed up on the D-pad a lot, but I realized that I'm too close to a wall to even use points drops. So you can't be too close to a wall or else you can't also use it, as you can see here. So the 3 things I would say about point drops to remember is do not do it on staircases, do not do it near bots, and do not do it near walls. Anyway, just getting a bunch of points. Getting power-ups left and right. Using more points drops. So right here, I turn on the power. And now the next thing you would want to do right after turning on the power is buying time slip. I accidentally forgot this and went upstairs, but I immediately go back because I realized my mistake in a little bit. But you want to get time slip for your perk saver that you're going to do in a bit. So just keep using points drops. Here's the thing I was talking about with the staircase. Don't do it on staircases, that can happen. So I buy time slip, and now I'm going to make my way to the new industries building in which I can now open. I use 1 more points drops, but now that I know I'm going to use aftertaste in a second, I am now going to wait to use points drops before until my aftertaste comes up. And actually, from here on out, you probably don't want to use more points drops, even after using aftertaste, because you're going to still want to wait until Nowhere But Here comes up right after Aftertaste. Okay, so now my Aftertaste is up, I pop it, and I hold a frag grenade. Now I'm going to kill myself with this frag grenade, and I'm going to go anywhere near bots so they can revive me like so. Now they'll revive me, and I'll keep my perk, and bam, now I have a point towards my perk saver. You can only do this basically once per game because it takes way too long for the thing to come back up again, so might as well just end the game. That's why I'm telling you to do all these at once, because of what the nerf that happened to the elixirs. So that's why you can only really do all these in one game. But you can do all these together instead of doing them in separate games. Now I'm waiting for Nowhere to Hear pop up, which just did. And I'm going to turn on the trap. A weakness towards bots is the fact that they're stupid and they go in traps without realizing it's going to kill them. So if you turn on a trap and then go outside the room and make them follow you, they're going to go through the trap and just kill themselves trying to follow you, because that's what bots do, they follow you. Sometimes they can revive each other, but eventually, like so, bam, all three of them die. So once that happens, you basically just wait for the trap to end. In this instance, I am on the wrong side of the trap than I want to be, so... Well, actually, you do want to be on the side because you can go further away. Bam, I popped Nowhere But Here, and I'm reviving all the players. You want to try to revive multiple at once, but in that instance, I accidentally turned around too early. But don't worry, I still get them anyway. And once I revive them, it's done. I now have 3 points towards my EMT calling card. And then I use another points drops for good measure, and then I end the game. And that's it. So you don't want to wait for all your elixirs to come back up because it's going to take way too long. You might as well just restart the game. This is about a 5-minute process I saw, and yeah, you'll just continuously get points towards your calling cards and start earning them eventually. These are the ones that are really grindy though, so you get to constantly restart the game and keep doing this over and over. But that's the best and efficient way that I know how to get all 5 of these cards at once. Okay, so for the next cards we're going to do in this game is Shock Pops, Contents Hot, Express Cashier, and Armed Alacrity. Hopefully I said that right. Alacrity. Armed Alacrity. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong in most of the clips I made, so oh well. Okay, for the calling cards, Shock Pops, Contents Hot, Express Cashier, and Armed Alacrity. You want to play on the map Blood of the Dead on casual difficulty with just one player. So what you want to do for this is you do not want to use any of your elixirs too early. You want to set up like you normally would on Blood of the Dead. That includes turning on both power switches, building the shield, getting all your perks, and pack-a-punching a weapon like 5 times, just to maximize your survival. The most important aspect of all of that is to get all 4 perks so you can get your tonic activated, which will really help you with Arsenal Accelerator later. So just play a normal game until you get to a certain point in which you are getting hordes and hordes of zombies, and that's when you know you can start using your elixirs. Okay, so I am now on a pretty decent round, and I'm mostly set up, so I am now hoarding a train of zombies in order to use my first burned out hit. You have 3 hits total in burned out, and what you want to do for the first hit is make sure you have a train first, then pop it like so. Now, once you've popped it, you're going to go right into the horde and take a hit. So I will do that shortly. I think I'm just getting a bunch of zombies to make sure that I kill as much as possible, but that's not necessary because it only kills a certain amount, as you can see right there. So there we go, though. I got the max amount of zombies kills with 1 hit. Second and third hit, it gets a little harder because now if the zombies hit you at any time, you could accidentally kill very few zombies and lose 1 hit with your elixir, which is actually monumental when it comes to the time it takes to come back up and when it comes to only having 3 chances. But it's not that hard. Just make sure you have the shield built and use it because it'll help you in the long run. Just train zombies once again and make sure you don't get hit until you have a lot hoarded up, and just do that 3 times. And burned out is done. Okay, now as for pop shocks, you get once again a whole horde and pop it. The only difference with this one is now you have full control over it. The zombies can't just hit you and you'll lose it. But you still want to make sure you have a huge horde and knife them. Once again, it won't kill an entire horde. It'll kill a certain amount. So just make sure you have big hordes and kill them. Now, if you think in certain instances you don't see them spawning anymore, like so, just go ahead and kill all of them and then start over on the next round and try to get as much as possible yet again with another train and then knife them. In that instance, I didn't think that was enough zombies to warrant 1 knife hit, so I decided to kill them all. I'm about to pick up this insta-kill, and it's not going to make any difference when you use pop shocks with insta-kill. It's still going to kill the same amount of zombies. It doesn't kill all of them, which I wish it did, but That's not really how it works. Anyway, just do that another 4 times, and that's how you maximize your pop shocks. Okay, so for optional accelerator, you want to make sure you have your bar almost entirely up, like so. And then once you have your bar almost up to full, that is when you pop Arsenal Accelerator, and then you get like 1 more headshot, and it'll recharge your sword entirely. And because you did that with Arsenal Accelerator on, you now got a point towards your calling card. Immediately take it out and put it away. Now once you've done that, get as much headshots as you possibly can to recharge it as quick as possible. As you can see, it comes back up again, then I take it out and put it back as quick as possible, get another headshot, and you just keep repeating this process over and over. Now, another exploit you can do, just like getting it all the way up, popping it, and then getting your sword immediately, another exploit is full power, that power up. If you have Arsenal Accelerator up and your sword is not up, you can get full power and it'll literally count as 1 point towards your calling card. It's really nice, and I thought that was a really cool feature. But basically just make sure you just get headshots or knife kills, and that'll get your sword up as quick as possible, along with the tonic, in which it'll make it go twice as fast with time slip in your tonic. In this instance, I got a dog round I wanted to mention. That's kind of bad because I lose a lot of time on my Arsenal Accelerator. So try to time it where you don't have a dog round if you can, because it really halts your progress by a lot. But I just wanted to warn you about that. Anyway, we'll move on to head scan. Okay, for head scan, you want to get a nice horde of zombies, use it, and then you want to take out a weaker weapon, like the Strife, like the Garrison, or the SOG. I recommend probably the Garrison or SOG. The Strife's not very good with this, but then you just shoot in the head, and shoot as much heads as possible. Don't get cornered like I did here, or else you'll lose your whole horde, and lose valuable time on your Elixir. But other than that, just weak weapon on high rounds, and just shoot the heads of the zombies, and let head scan do its work. That's basically how you do head scan. Now, I basically covered... Now I covered the basics with these elixirs, but what you want to do is you want to keep going in your game until every single one of these elixirs pop up again, and then use them one by one and do the same methods I just explained. But after that, you might as well end the game, because it's going to take way too long for them to come back up again, and you're going to be in a really high round, and it just might not be very worth it. Now, if you really think that you should stay in the game and wait for them to come up a third time, you think the time's going, oh, it's going pretty fast, I think I should stay in, then you can do that if you want. I actually do not exactly know how long it takes for all of them to come up by the third time around, but all I know is that the cooldown of the elixirs go up in increments the higher round you're on. So I think it does, at least, because I've seen the elixirs come up way slower than usual on higher rounds, so I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So I might as well... So you might as well just use all 4 of them, and then wait till they all come up again, use them all again, and then just end the game. For the next card we're going to go over is actually one this time, Sanctuary. This is the only one in which, well, actually there's going to be 3, but there are only 3 that we're going to be focusing on specifically, because these are the 3 hardest ones, which would be Sanctuary, Chug-A-Lixir, and Charmed. However, right now we're going to go over how to do Sanctuary. Let's get into it. Okay, so now... here's the most efficient and best way I know how to get the calling card, Sanctuary. You want to go on the map IX on casual difficulty, just solo. So what you want to do is you want to get enough points in the beginning of the round. What you want to do is get enough points to be able to open all the doors between the 2 traps in the pit and the flooded crypt, which I will explain in a second when we get there if you do not know the locations of those areas. So just basically start your challenges, get your kills normally, try to do your challenges until you get the personal points drop, in which you can get 500 points, because that helps out a little bit. But basically the main point of this is just to get some kills and get enough points to go through the doors and get to the first 2 traps. Okay, so I now have enough to buy all the doors in between both the traps. However, I do not have enough points to buy the traps themselves. You need a total of 8,000 points to open all the doors and to buy the traps. So we'll get to that in a second, but here I'm going to open the doors. So I go right first and open the door, and that should be the pit, I believe. I didn't actually go in there, so I don't know the name of it, but that would be the pit. And in here, sorry, no, that was actually the flooded crypt. I figured it out. That's the flooded crypt, and in here, this is the pit. So once you've opened all those doors, you need an additional 3,000 points, unless you already got all 8,000 points in the spawn room, which that's probably what you should do. Alright, so I popped a temporal gift thinking that might have been a double points, but it doesn't really matter anyway. You can even pop Temporal Gift at the beginning of the game, because this shouldn't take any more than 5 minutes. But anyway, I'm just getting enough points to get 3,000. Now that I've gotten 3,000 points, I am now going to show you the method you would use to get 2 points towards your calling card per game. So you activate the trap, then pop the perk Anti-Entrapment and jump into the trap. Next, you run all the way from the Flooded Crypt to the pit, and once you've gotten there, you can turn on the trap and jump into the trap. Now, once you're done with that, you basically end the game, because unfortunately, you may think that you would be able to go back to the other trap and jump in it again to get another point, but unfortunately, it only works, because there's only 4 traps in IX, it would only work a max amount per round. You can only get 4 points towards the calling card. I don't know why they made it like this, but they did. It wouldn't even matter anyway, because you would have to wait for the elixir to come up, which would take 10 minutes, so it's not really worth it anyway. But that's how you would get that card the most efficient way I know how. Finally, we're going to now go over Chug-A-Lixir and Charm 3. Probably 2 of the hardest ones to do within this entire card pack. So, let's get into it. So, you start the game and you pop an elixir, and after 30 seconds, you pop the next one, after 30 seconds, you pop the next one, and after 30 seconds again, you pop the last one. Now, while you're doing all this, you want to make sure you do not end round 1. Any elixirs you consumed and you end the round, you will have to Alt F4 right then and there on round 2, or else you'll start to lose the first elixirs you consumed in the first place. So how this works is that you consume the elixirs and then you end the round, and I guess the game thinks, check, you've consumed those, and then you can Alt F4. It will not only save your elixirs, but it'll also put points towards your calling card. So kill about 5 zombies. There's 6 total in the first round, and then just keep making sure you're popping those elixirs every 30 seconds. So I just popped my second one, and I'm waiting for the bar to come back up for the third one. Just doing some messing around here. And I'm going to kill the 5th, yeah, there we go. I'm going to kill the 5th zombie right there, and now there's 1 left. And I'm going to wait 30 more seconds till the next elixir comes up. Next elixir comes up, I drink it, and then I wait the final 30 seconds in order for my nuke to come up. Now my nuke's up, and I drink it, and then in this case I use the nuke to kill the last zombie. Now it is round 2, and at this point you want to wait a little bit for round 2 to register, and then you close application / Alt F4 like so. And once you've done that, you will save your elixirs, and points will go towards your calling card. Now as for Talismans, Talismans is almost the same concept, except you don't have to consume anything, first of all. Second of all, do not start the next round whatsoever. Just let round 1 register, and then Alt F4 immediately, just like so. And that'll save your elixir, or save your talisman, and it'll count as a point towards your calling card. One more thing I wanted to mention is that do not do your elixirs and talismans at the same time. I wish you could do that, because it would combine them and make it so much more efficient. But if you enter round 2 with your talisman activated, you will lose that talisman, and you cannot Alt F4 to get it back. And for the elixirs, if you consume all the elixirs on round 1 and then Alt F4, the progress will not count towards your calling cards. You will keep your elixirs, but it will not count as progress. Right, and that's the most efficient way I know how to get elixirs and talismans. It'll take you quite a while because of the nerf, like I said. However, it shouldn't take that long, and unfortunately, the elixirs and talismans is probably one of the worst looking ones according to the master calling cards. But this series is for going for the 100%er, not those specific calling cards. So I just recommended doing that one first, because I honestly think it's one of the most fun ones to do, and it's one of the easier ones, to be honest. So that was Elixirs and Talismans. Now we're going to move on to Zombie Survivalist. Now I wanted to do this one next, because most of the time during Elixirs and Talismans, you're doing a lot of these already, such as you're probably getting some mystery boxes, you're definitely buying a bunch of perks, you're probably not doing many wall weapons, but you might do ones here and there. You're buying lots of doors. Once you've finished EMT, you'll almost have this one already done, which is pretty nice. You won't even have to play multiplayer once. Survivor, you'll just be surviving rounds, but you won't have this one yet for sure. You'll survive a lot of rounds without being knocked down, without being damaged. You'll grab a lot of power-ups. You'll spend a lot of points. You might use a few fast travels here and there, maybe not. And lol, Perk-O-Lator, lol. Anyway, so we're going to get into this one next. And yeah, so this one is not as hard as Elixirs and Talismans, but it's probably a little bit more grindy. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so for the calling card Gambler, this is not really a card you actually really have to grind for, but in case you do, here's some tips I can give you on how to grind for it really fast. You're going to need 3 things, the Elixir Temporal Gift, the Perk Time Slip, and a Fire Sale. So, if you combine all three of these powers, you can get a ton of weapons from the mystery box really fast. First thing I'm going to do is move the mystery box, because in order to get a fire sale drop within Black Ops 4, you actually have to move the box first. I kind of like this because it makes it to where if you never touch the box, you can have other drops first. Anyway, I'm going to buy Time Slip, and so yeah, it's a nice feature. So with Time Slip, I'm now going to go move the box, and then... Okay, I just moved the box, and now I'm just going to wait for the fire sale. Okay, so here we go. I just got the fire sale drop. I pop a temporal gift, and then I pick up the fire sale. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to go to the box and start spamming it to hell, and getting as many weapons as I possibly can. So, see how fast this is? It makes it so much quicker to get box spins. It's cheap, it's quick, and you'll get probably about 10 to 13 points, or about 10 to 15 around that area, points towards your gambler calling card. Now, I don't exactly know how many weapons you can actually get within one fire sale, but it's a lot. So, that's my tips on how to do it. This one we're going to talk about is Perk Me Up and Perk-O-Lator. Now, by the time you're done with Perk Me Up, you're only going to be halfway done with Perk-O-Lator, but I decided to basically merge these both in one, and I'm going to show you, instead of the classified method that I've already uploaded, I'm now going to show you the IX method, so people who can't have access to classified can do this card as well. So, this is how to get Perk-O-Lator and Perk Me Up, not exactly at the same time, but it's how to grind Perk-O-Lator and Perk Me Up without using the map Classified. So I've already made a tutorial on how to get Perk-O-Lator on Classified, because that is the fastest map you can do Perk-O-Lator on. But since not everybody has Classified, I decided to do a tutorial within the set of tutorials for 100%er on how to do it on IX. The only difference with IX and Classified is there's more doors, that's why it costs more, unfortunately. On the Classified it costs 12,250, and on IX it costs 15,250, I believe. So, basically you just want to do your challenges in the beginning of IX, get to the point where you have the personal points drop, and then once you have that, I would suggest popping Temporal Gift before you pick it up, as in before you go up to the pedestal and activate it for your reward. Pop Temporal Gift and let it sit, because you could get lucky enough to get a double points, and if you do, then you have 1,000 points from that points drop, and you'll have double points both on Temporal Gift, so it'll be just the most efficient way to do it like that. Next, you basically just want to get, you want to stay in the spawn for 6 rounds with the Strife's stiletto knife, because like I've been stressing the whole time, stiletto, you need basically the stiletto knife before you start any of these calling cards. That's why I made that whole intro tutorial on how to get your Strife up pretty quickly. But it's almost essential for these kind of things. So you can stay here till round 6 and one hit knife on casual, and you'll rack up a ton of points. Probably enough to open all the doors you need and to buy all the perks you need. Once you basically have 15,250 points, you want to start opening the doors in the Raw and Danu building, buy the perks in those two areas, and then continue on from there. You want to open the doors from the Danu building to the Flooded Crypt / the Pit. One of those two ways is fine, and then you want to open another door to get into either the Odin or Zeus building. Once you've gotten to one of those, you buy the perk in there, and then buy the door, and then buy the last perk. Once you've bought that last perk, you are done, and you can just end the game and repeat. This will give you 4 points towards your Perk Me Up, and it'll give you 1 point towards your Perk-O-Lator. Unfortunately, you have to do this 100 times, and it takes just about 5 minutes per run. So, needless to say, it's quite hell, so it's quite torture. But that's basically how you do it really fast. So, I'm not going to actually show the Perk-O-Lator clip in its entirety. I'll just keep that for classified, but I mean, I guess if you guys want to see how to do the IX method in its entirety, I'll upload it as a sole clip. But otherwise, that's how you get it fast. Yeah, that's how you get it fast. Okay, so that is Perk Me Up and Perk-O-Lator, the IX method. The next one we're going to be doing is Off the Shelf. Now, Off the Shelf, you do have to grind for this one, because even if you just buy wall weapons like crazy, you probably won't even have this one yet. So I'm going to show you a method in which you can grind this one out. Okay, this is one of the ones you will have to grind for, because even if you're a wall weapon guy, you're probably not going to be buying wall weapons on this scale. Basically, we're going for the calling card Off the Shelf. Now, the issue with Off the Shelf, the issue with Off the Shelf is it's like buying 200 wall weapons. So I've come up with a strategy in order for you to go around the map, or just get a ton of points and go around the map and buy as much wall weapons as you can. Now, one of the things that's really important about this calling card is if you have a lot of wall-to-wall clearance, you should use that to get all the expensive weapons in the map and then continue down the list to get all the way down to the cheapest weapons and then end the game. Now, if you don't want to use your wall-to-wall clearance, I understand, because it's actually very useful for things like the Bowie knife or the Koshka. It's like really useful later on for some other calling cards that we'll get to in the tutorial. But if you have a lot, or if you are a elixir connoisseur in which you buy a lot of them and you have a lot of them, I suggest using them for this purpose. So you basically just want to keep getting into a game, staying in the spawn room on IX till round 6, and once you've gotten a ton of points off of round 6 with the stiletto knife on casual, because like I said, stiletto knife is like of the utmost importance for this for these calling cards on early rounds. It is so good, and I recommend completely to get it. So you just stiletto knife them till round 6, and by then you'll have a ton of points. Even if you're not lucky with the double points, you'll still probably have a ton of points. And you just start opening all the doors, and once you've opened all the doors to at least the Zeus or Odin building, you pop your wall-to-wall clearance elixir and start buying all the expensive weapons, and then just run throughout room to room buying every weapon off the wall. Now, if you, like I said, if you don't want to use the wall-to-wall clearance, avoid buying things like the Titan or the Koshka, which I don't believe is an IX, so don't worry about that, but avoid buying things like the Titan mainly, and the Bowie knife. Don't buy the Bowie knife and Titan, buy all the other cheaper weapons instead. If you decide to stay in the game and buy every weapon on the wall, that is also recommended, but you don't exactly have to do that. You can just get as many weapons as you can that are the cheapest, and then just leave the game, because the rest of them might not be worth it. The Titan and the Bowie knife are absolutely not worth getting during your grind. You might as well just buy every weapon, accept them, and then end the game and repeat. So yeah, that's basically how you get off the shelf really quickly. My original method, however, was on classified. I'm not going to show a method on how to do it on classified, but let's just say classified is way better for this. But of course, since not everyone has it, I'm not going to do a tutorial on it because I don't want to exclude people. So this is how you do it on IX. Anyway, that's the fastest way to get it on IX. Okay, and that's how you grind out off the shelf. So the final ones we're going to be doing are the passive ones, such as Open Sesame, Survivor, Still Standing, Untouchable, Power Grab, Big Spender, and Shortcutter. So let's get into those cards. These are basically the passive cards. You want to do these on any map of your choice. You just get to any round you want and just constantly get points during these cards during your game. Now, at the beginning of the video, I'll have a link to another video choice. You just get to any round you want and just constantly get points during these cards during your game. Now, at the beginning of the video, I'll have a link to another video in which I showcase how I get to or how I get fast XP on Blood of the Dead. So I basically just go throughout my early rounds and show what I do in my games, and that will kind of help you with these cards as well. But basically I'm going to kind of explain that you need to, during these matches, you need to open doors, survive rounds, don't go down, don't get hit during rounds, get power-ups, spend a lot of points, and use a lot of fast travels. And that's basically it. So that's what you would do for those last cards. There's not really any special way of getting them. They're really easy. They're just grindy. That's all there is to it. There's not really even a use for a tutorial for them. But the only one I could talk about is Untouchable, and the best way I can say to get Untouchable is if you have the stiletto knife, like I keep mentioning, you're gonna want to use that on the first 6 rounds, and you just keep knifing zombies, and that way you can never get hit, basically, because you're always meleeing the zombies first before they can hit you, so you're never getting meleeed for the first 6 rounds. So that's kind of a good way of getting Untouchable very slowly, but you could also just try your best to stay back from the zombies. Another way you could also do this one is you can get 3 bots in your game, and you can have them protect you. You can go into, let's say, the warden's office on the Blood of the Dead, and be in the staircase area, and you can just sit in that corner and they'll protect you, and that's all you really have to do, just for like 200 rounds. Now, of course, 200 rounds, you can't do all that at once, so, but that's just a way you would get Untouchable, and that's the only one I can really talk